have exotic, I would say. We have a little bit of everything. We have the Spanish colonial architecture. We have the archaeology, of course, which is vast. Many, many archaeological sites. In fact, there are 8,000, which is vast. Well, the major site in Guatemala, the icon really is Tikal. Tikal was actually discovered in the late 18th century, but not worked on until the 1930s, 1940s. They managed to form a national park, so there's 500 square kilometers of park, which is very important because then we have the wildlife, birds, animals, the plant life, as well as the archaeological site. So it's really spectacular. Well, actually, Guatemala is the country that has the most modern-day Maya. We have still about 150 villages that the Indians, the native people, wear their costumes. And it's very interesting because you can tell a village by their costume. It's like a uniform. First-time visitor to Guatemala will do the sort of the classical route, which is Antigua, the Spanish colonial capital, Lake Atitlan, which is spectacularly beautiful, and then they'll go up to the Tikal. Now, somebody who has an interest in archaeology or has been there before and their interest is wakened, then they'll see the other sites. About every 20 kilometers, there's a site.
And for a visitor to be able to visit and maybe interact with one of these 117 or whatever it was Mayan villages, how can they best do that?
Well, usually through a tour operator, and if there's tour operators in most of the places or close by. So either they come with a package tour already set up, or they can talk to local people and get the local tour operators to help them out. In general terms, a tourist is respectful, but there's certain instances, you can't just rush into an Indian village and start taking pictures. The guide has to get off the van or the bus and go and ask permission from the leaders of the community if they can take pictures, that kind of thing. So that's where it's very important that the guide is well trained so that he can pass on this concept to the tourists. The guys have to pass some tests that we put out before they can have the official identity as a guide. And they all want to have that, so they have to go through those tests before they can be a guide.
What has been the recent 3-4 years, approximate increase in tourism arrivals for Guatemala?
Oh, it's a lot because 4 or 5 years ago it was like 700,000 and now we have 1,600,000. So that's quite a good percentage of gain.